Okay, so don't even tell me. Oh gosh, I thought it was on private again. Okay, let me go to the, after this we're gonna go to another one, but I have to put the redirect in and put the new one up. All right, but let's get on to this one first, because let me just make sure that everybody's in the chat. Close some of these tabs here so I can not get held up. Okay. Let me just get into this. Why is this not letting me in? All right, so we're going to go over Anthony Todt today because there was a motion filed at the end of August, and it could throw out his confession at the hospital. So that would be a pretty big thing for the defense if that goes through. The judge is going to rule on that. Not for a while, but we're going to talk about that and the whole case. So in case you're not familiar, I've got that all coming up. So let me get this up here. Let's see. And I want to do this. Should go over there. Come on, go ahead. It's really slow to get over there. I've got a presentation for you. So my computer doesn't want to play nice tonight. Of course it doesn't. Some things here. Hold on, I'm gonna have to put my task manager on if this stuff won't close on its own. It's driving me crazy. There we go, finally. Okay. The other thing is I can't get to the, hang on a minute, I'm trying to get rid of this, close something down here that might be making things run slow. So let me just, sorry guys. I really was prepared. This is crazy. I'm like, oh, I should. The way technology has been going, yeah, this is probably par for the course. Okay, so let me just close out those other two tabs there. I am sorry. I can't see the chat. I can't see who's here. I can't see if anyone's here. Can't even get there. Well, I have to put the task manager on. It's just not going to let me close out anything here. Okay, where do you want to join it? Okay. This is crazy. Doesn't even want to bring up my task manager. Okay. This is what I mean about, here it comes, it's bringing up about planning things. This is exactly what I mean. Come on. gotta stop pressing things. If I press things, it's going to, there it goes. Let's see, come on. This is crazy. Okay, let's see. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. And task. And task. And I know if I did it. I think it did. And those go here. Alright. Come on. I'm so sorry. This is crazy. Okay, I'm just, if I get the PowerPoint to go on, I'm just going to have to go on without even saying if anybody's here or what on. Hopefully it will let me see you later. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can get it to go. Let me see if I can get into my YouTube. This is crazy. It was working perfectly. So much for this. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. Just forget it. Just forget it, Carolyn. Okay. I really hope that you guys are here and you can hear, because I can't. Let me just see if I can see it on my phone, just to make sure that you guys can hear. I have no idea what the freak is going on with why I can't get into YouTube. Let me just go to my channel. Okay, I see, let's see. I see people in there, you can hear. Okay, sorry about this. I'm just going to go on with it, okay? That's it. So this is Anthony Todt case. This is Celebration, Florida, which is a former Disney property. I have to say former Disney property because these Disney people get really, really angry. But it was a former Disney property. We went all around this property. You might remember, if you've been with us, that we made a mistake on the address. We were at the wrong house for about 34 seconds, and some woman came in and said that we needed to scrap everything because we made a mistake. It was ridiculous. Anyway, accused of being a family annihilator is Anthony Todt, and let's take a look. We're going to go through the background of the case here. So the date of the crime was in January of 2020, and I'll explain why. We don't know the exact date that this occurred, and we'll find that out in just a second. Happened in Celebration, Florida, again, a former Disney property. Anthony Todt, 45, is accused of killing his wife, Megan, 42, sons Alex, 13, Tyler, 11, daughter Zoe, 4, and the family dog Breezy at their Celebration home. And that's their home right there, which they rented. They didn't own it. When was the deceased family found? The deceased family members were found on January 13th of 2020. Megan and the children were found wrapped in blankets, and toxicology revealed that they had Benadryl in their system. Megan and the children had been suffocated as well as stabbed, and their bodies were left to decompose in the house for 2 weeks approximately. Again, you'll hear why that's approximate. What was the family dynamic like? The Todt family moved to Celebration, Florida from Colchester, Connecticut. Anthony Todt had a physical therapy business in Connecticut with 2 offices. He continued to commute and saw his family on weekends. So he worked all week in Connecticut, came back to Celebration on the weekends. But all was not going well in Anthony's business. Federal authorities were looking into allegations of insurance fraud. Tony was in trouble. The feds and the Osceola County Sheriff's Office deputies went to the Todt house on January 13th to arrest Tony on the insurance fraud charges. So we're going to talk more about that in a minute. But before Tony allegedly went on this killing spree of his family, he had been working in Connecticut and spent the weekends in Florida. And at the time they discovered the murder, federal authorities and the Osceola County Sheriff's deputies had gone to the family's home to arrest Tony on the fraud charges because he was billing for fraudulent physical therapy appointments, okay? Tens of thousands of dollars of fraudulent physical therapy appointments. All right? Yeah. Let's go to the next one. Uh-oh, hold on a minute. We missed one. So where were the Todts? Because they were missing. The Todts family and friends, along with the FBI, was worried since they had not been seen since before Christmas. On December 29th, one of Anthony Todd's family members contacted law enforcement in Florida to say, can you check up on our family? You know, we haven't seen them. And she had been told that they all had the flu, but she had not heard from them, okay? And it started to get them worried. So this was on December 29th. Now, the deputies say that they went to the home. They didn't get an answer. Nothing looked strange. They didn't find anything unusual. The family travels. Maybe they're away. He goes to Connecticut, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, they didn't do anything. Now, one of the neighbors told the deputies, because there were then two other welfare checks, one on January 10th and one on January 11th. Again, deputies showed up to the house, knocked on the door, rang the bell, etc., etc. Nobody answers. One of the neighbors comes out and says, hey, wait a minute, I have a key because I used to watch their cat. Okay, but they didn't want it. They didn't want to go in. Now, the owner of the house, because they rented this, contacted deputies because he hadn't seen the family and they were behind on their rent. The unraveling. On January 13th, deputies went to the home again, right? Because this is when they're going to arrest him on those federal charges of the insurance fraud. Now, they're knocking, ringing the bell. He doesn't answer, but they observe Tony in the house. So at that point, they enter the house. Tony is all shaky. He's acting, he can't even stand up, like he's just crazy. And he says that his wife is upstairs. He believes she's asleep, and he thinks the kids are at a sleepover. Well, the officers are hit with this strong smell of decomposition when they enter the house. And when Megan doesn't answer when they call up to her, they go upstairs. When they go upstairs, they make their way to the master bedroom where they discover this horrific scene. And they find the bodies of Megan, Alex, Tyler, Zoe, and Breezy, the family dog, all in the master bedroom. All of the victims were in early stages of decomposition, and the medical examiner believes that they were murdered sometime in late December. Tony had been living in the home with his deceased family for weeks. Yeah. So at the time they arrest him, he's shaking. He says he took an unknown amount of Benadryl to end his life. And at this point, he's complaining of belly pain. They have to take him to the hospital. They take him to the hospital. Now, he was arrested and charged with 4 counts of premeditated homicide and 1 charge of animal cruelty. Now, his first confession, and this is what's the problem, okay? He was interrogated at the hospital. And that is what his defense attorneys are now calling into question. I'm going to talk more about that confession in just a minute. A grand jury in February of 2020 indicted Anthony Todt on 4 counts of first-degree murder. The sheriff's office has said that he confessed to the killings. Though the substance of his confession has not yet been made public, the state attorney said her office will seek the death penalty. It's also found out that an eviction notice had been served to the Todts on that Celebration residence, December 26th of 2020. The Todts signed a 1-year lease in May of 2019, but they missed a December payment of more than $4,000. They were also facing eviction from one of their Colchester, Connecticut physical therapy offices. Tony's physical therapy license had expired. The family was deeply in debt. The feds discovered Tony's scheme to fraudulently charge tens of thousands of dollars in non-existing physical therapy appointments, and Tony admitted to the fraud and agreed to investigators that he was living above his means. But he told the authorities that Megan Todt, his wife, knew nothing of the scheme. And that's according to the affidavit. But Anthony's story changes, okay? Anthony writes a jailhouse letter to his father in which he blames his wife, Megan, for the murders. He claims that Megan poisoned the children with a tainted dessert and murdered them while they slept before she took her own life. And I quote from the letter, "Long story short, she gave them the Benadryl Tylenol PM pie, separated them, woke up at 11:30, stabbed, and then suffocated each one." Tony wrote this again in a letter to his estranged father. Let's remember, his father, hired that kid to kill Tony's mother. Remember that one? She survived, but she lost an eye. Yeah. That father he's writing this jailhouse new confession letter, blaming his wife for this. And he says, "At the news of this, I ran to the bathroom and puked. I was weak." This new confession is on page 16 of a 27-page letter that Tony wrote to his dad. The letter's dated June 19th, 2020. Let's read this letter now, okay? Let me pull that letter up here. Hopefully this will cooperate with me. Hold on, I may just have to pull it up again. So I had it all ready to go, but I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm just going to pull it up again if it's going to give me a problem. I might even go into a different. Hang on for 1 minute. Okay, just going to use a different source here because it doesn't want to let me into my thing. Okay. Okay. Come on, stop. I had his letter all ready to go, but I can't, I'm just going to have to pull it up again. Just give me a second here, because my computer just wants to be a little jerk tonight. Come on, please. Okay, I'm just going to try to restart this. Hold on, it's the only way I can do it. I can't be. Okay, good. Hopefully you can still hear me. I'll just let this restart. And in the meantime, yeah, so he changes his whole story, writes his letter to his father, which we're going to read here in just a second, with this bizarre story of what he says happened and how he is, I believe it's 1,000%, he says, innocent. And it's quite an unbelievable story. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. I'm going to try to pull up YouTube real quick. And then I'm going to get the letter. Sorry, I had to restart everything here. Okay, I've got it now. I believe I do. Why is this not? Okay. Here we go. Sorry, guys. I'm pulling it up now. Pull this over. Okay, here's his letter to Robert Todt, 32 Woodcliff Drive, Westfield, Massachusetts, 01085, from Anthony Todt, inmate name, Kissimmee, Florida, okay, and June 19th, 2020. Robert, please excuse the impersonal nature of printing in this letter, but seeing as it's too painful to write legible script, it will have to do. I will explain later. I have recently been released off of suicide watch as I was placed due to the circumstances, horrific as they were, in December of 2019, that the media and sheriff's department here are making me out to be the next butcher of Baghdad. Thanks to counseling here, the chaplain services, and my sister, I am beginning to resemble the proud man I was prior to the incident, which shattered me beyond comprehensible ways. I remain in isolated protective custody to protect me, as I am not jail material, and to protect my care. I write to you in response to the letter I received from you to correct all inaccuracies created and generated by the creative writing machine press to sell papers and the sheriff's department, who want to score a big win after screwing up a prior murder case that the governor of Florida had to intervene and move it out of this district. To respond to your absurd allegations in your last letter and to offer you forgiveness, first of all, I am 10,000% innocent of all these preposterous charges, both on this state case and on the proposed Medicaid fraud case. The statements taken from me were interesting, to say the least. I'm writing to you in confidence. Please do not share with anyone but your wife, as I need not to be shown off as a trophy again, nor do I need to contend with the results of this telephone game when it is time to testify in a couple of months. Please do not break my confidence. I am ashamed to say yes, I did attempt suicide multiple times. As to my recollection, I want to say 8 times. I am told this is natural given the circumstances of having the rug pulled out from underneath me and my world shattered. My wife and my children were and still are everything to me. I love my wife still very deeply, and it will be the hardest thing to sit there and tell everyone that it was her that did this when I was not home, and then she committed suicide in front of me. I have forgiven her, as I know she was chronically sick since 2011-2012, when a bug bit her in Disney, of all places. That, with time and everything else, led to our first miscarriage of Avery Nicole, borderline liver failure, something-induced hepatitis, vagus nerve dysfunction, depression. In addition to that, suffered from her father's suicide. One of my close friends in 2002-2003, tachycardia, would wake up with heart rate of greater than 180, breathing difficulties, at rest, Lyme's disease, chronic pain, joint weight loss from 125 pounds, muscular rip from being an internationally trained yoga teacher to barely holding on to 90 pounds, with loss of all female features, in addition to a multitude of other physical and functional deficits. We moved to Florida in our condo originally because, hold on one second, because the sun and the warmth made her feel better, and eventually permanently for that reason. And there were more homeschooling and performing arts opportunities for the boys. We sold the house in Colchester in 2017 after just finishing a greater than $50,000 remodel. That included all new furniture for the living room, dining room, kitchen, new kitchen cabinets, new counters, painting all downstairs, new lighting, finishing the basement, ripping up the grouts while maintaining the kitchen tile, replacing grout, completing a 1,600 to 1,800 square foot 2-level deck with a hot tub, and replacing the carpet upstairs with engineered hardwood. I essentially did the work by myself with intermittent help from friends and help from my boys when they would fly back with me. Not even a year after the remodel, she decided we should move to Florida full-time and sell the house. Whatever she wanted, I did. I took my vows of love, honor, and obey, protect, as religion and sacred. We then moved into the rental house at 202 Reserve Place in Celebration because we outgrew our condo in May of 2019, and it had a saltwater pool, which was good for her, and an office apartment above the detached garage that we could use to transition the business to Florida. We were not able to sell it for what it was worth, hence I commuted every week. When I arrived in Connecticut on Tuesdays, I would work 2 to 9. His handwriting is ridiculous. I would work 2 to 9 something, and then in office doing work until 12 to 1 a.m., returning Wednesday and Thursday in office at 6 a.m., treating from 6:30 to 9, and working until 1 a.m. I would stay at a hotel or mom's couch, my choice, on Tuesday and Wednesday nights or at Airbnb, and Thursday night usually slept in the office for a couple of hours as my flight was between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m., so I would be home in Florida in time to pick up Zoe up at preschool at 11:45 a.m. or various other things previous to that. I would catch up on sleep on the plane or whenever time permitted. It was not healthy, I realize that. As I have seen recent newspaper pics of me, but I did it all for my family. When I was in Florida, I would treat my wife 2 to 3 times per day, usually 4 to 6 a.m., 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., and personal training activities to tolerance in afternoons daily, do food shopping and prepared 90% of meals, prepare two something meals for when I left for Connecticut so my sons could warm up as necessary, take boys to and from homeschool co-op 45 minutes away on Monday, and to co-op on Tuesdays, with sometimes delaying my departure depending on home situation and bringing them home Tuesday afternoon prior to an evening flight. In addition, Zoe was driven to and from school Monday and Tuesday by me and home on Fridays by me. The boys were home Wednesday, Thursday, Friday doing their homeschool work with Meg, and Meg would drive Zoe to and from school 10 minutes on Wednesdays and Thursdays and on Friday mornings to school. It was a routine I fully accepted. I loved being a husband and a father. In addition, I would attend to whatever personal needs Meg needed, depending on the day. That included carrying her upstairs to bed, helping her shower, dress, doing Zoe's hair, I sucked at it, and whatever else. I embraced it. I was determined she was going to get better, and she was, though. The good days were amazing, but the bad days were even more depressing for her. We kept quiet for most part because that is how Meg wanted it. She was raised that way, as her mom was the town drunk. Her grandfather was a major Democrat politician for over 30 years, and she didn't want the same eyes on her as were on her mother for her multiple ailments. I respected it. She was my wife, and I loved her. Like I said prior, I'm still deeply in love with her. Call that illogical? I don't care. We had a love between us, described best, I think, by C.S. Lewis, being storge, a Greek term for family love. It takes the other 3 loves of the Greek language, phileo, friendship, eros, erotic, and apago, God, to the next level. We didn't fight, rather discussed things, although much wasn't different between us, as we made sure we built a foundation of trust, respect, and admiration for and with each other before we married. He's just such an ideal guy, right? It was very important to both of us, given our pasts, hers from an alcoholic mother and living in silence because of family and political reasons, and mine stemming from 1980. That left serious trust issues, nightmare, fear, and fear of people even thinking I had any infidelity issues. We didn't even make love until 1 week prior to our wedding, after almost 8 years of dating. Our relationship was very close and special. Anyways, too much info, I'm sure, but I thought you needed a better understanding of our relationship. If I was there that night, this never would have happened. Oh yes, he's the big hero. Hence the self-blame, yeah, okay, and self-condemnation. But because I was being selfish, I have lost everything near and dear to me, and when I leave here in a couple of months, I will be leaving homeless and without clothes. I've lost 90 pounds so far. Blue Sky Realty, in celebration, has formally evicted us from the rental house, where everything is, including furniture, clothes, and specialties and remembrances of my family, especially my kids. Most things can be replaced, except for the family piano, which was Meg's growing up, and the boys learned on it, and Zoe was beginning to learn. It is the most treasured item to me, practically in the world. But because I have been evicted, they have the right to sell everything to make up their costs. I understand. My only hope is this something is delayed due to coronavirus, and I'm out of here before it to settle the lien and take back possession of the material things. I doubt it will happen, but I am hoping and praying. In reference to the condo, which is furnished and has clothes there, I'm facing foreclosure as the mortgage has not been paid since December. There are some reasons the family hasn't done so, and I do not know the status of my finances as Meg handled all of that. I hated doing the financial stuff and had limited time to dedicate to it, as she loved it and had time and took over full control in 2013-2014, more so because of the guilt she was having from the buildup of medical bills. Most were private pay. I had a gigantic life insurance on myself, but only a 200 to 300K on her. Wow, only. But when I get out, that will help set things right and get me on my feet, I guess. It's being held because of the charges against me, as I am sole beneficiary. I just hope timing is right and everything is delayed because of the economy status due to the coronavirus. Here's hoping, I guess. I didn't do the finances and trusted her with that as a team partnership. I know passwords and usernames as I set up the online account, and wow, his handwriting is atrocious. He was saying he was printing. He should go back to printing. And something used the name throughout. Oh, well, back to the explanations. I wasn't there that night because I was selfish and wanted a wonderful day, as Meg deserved it, into a most wonderful day, as Meg described it, into a most wonderful day. Meg woke up for the first time since March 2019, and even before, though intermittently without any pain. Instead of me treating her at 4:30 a.m., we spent time together until Zoe came in wanting breakfast. The day was phenomenal. Yeah, of course it was. Meg returned. Oh my gosh, is for the most Meg something blah blah for the most part, joining us outside on occasion, and I spent the day with the kids doing everything from basketball to soccer to talking to Elsa freeze tag, football, you name it. Yeah, he's the ultimate dad. Meg was inside watching TV, reading recipes, listening to music. Yeah, that she's just, goofing off. He's doing all the work, all the everything. And making snacks, I believe he says. It was the best I've seen her in a while, especially since our miscarriage in September of 2019 of Connor Michael. That was horrible, to say the least. He was 8 to 10 weeks gestation. We initially found out at our ultrasound when Zoe was present to see baby Todt for the first time. The tech and radiologist were cold sounding in the handling of it. We were supposed to have a follow-up ultrasound 2 weeks later, as there was no heartbeat heard or detected. But we lost Connor prior to that. Instead of leaving the ultrasound happy, it was worse than a funeral. The result of our love and the first weekend away was no longer. It was a happy surprise to us to conceive, as we were not trying, but who knew a woman can double ovulate after the age of 40? Never covered that in sex ed or any of my medical classes. Anyways, I would ask her several times throughout the day if she needed anything and if everything was okay. And she would respond, "Everything is wonderful. If you get a chance, can you fix the alarm sensor on the back door? And can you go to the condo to get Zoe's Mickey necklace?" She and I would really appreciate it, as she keeps asking me for it. I told her that I would go after dinner, if all was okay, as I have some maintenance tasks there, and it would be easy to do without children. She responded, "Perfect, as I want every day to go to bed early anyway, because everyone is still getting over the stomach bug." I agreed and also told her I would crash at the condo or in the office apartment above the garage, as I was a bull in a china closet when I was tired, as I was extremely because of insomnia the night before, and she started to use natural oil and air fresheners that were giving me sinus issues since Thanksgiving, and would just have difficulty sleeping. I also told her I would, for the sensors, I would fix the sensors one night after the boys were asleep with Gorilla Glue, because Tyler would jump up to touch them and constantly knock them off. He was my energetic and daring son. He wanted me to go skydiving with him on his 18th birthday, and I told him it would have to be his 21st birthday, and I would need a serious drink before and after, whereas Alex was into cars and wanted me to be his best man at his wedding. Shows the difference between them. He wanted a blue Camaro convertible for his first car, and as I rented one for a weekend. I told him we would start him with a pink Cadillac. He didn't enjoy that. I did. Sorry, I switched to script. Yeah, I'm sorry, switched to script too. I hope you can read it. No, not really. It was tedious and painful. You see, when they took me into custody, they dropped me down 10 stairs handcuffed behind my back. Needless to say, after hearing that's why we hold on to someone in custody, deputy, I have extreme back pain, shoulder and neck pain, and bilateral hand-wrist pain. I have nerve damage in my left hand, right wrist sprain, right shoulder rotator cuff disruption, and lateral tear. Left shoulder rotator cuff problem, cervical and lumbar I'm going to make that out. Something dysfunction and daily migraines. I am limited in sitting for about 15 minutes. Something to pain, and standing for 15 to 20 minutes. I take Tylenol, 600 milligrams BDD when the nurses remember, but hesitate to take anything stronger. They gave me a med to help with the nerve pain so I could sleep. But they gave me freaky tales from the crypt nightmares, so they discharged it. So part of my day, I do self-PT and keep daily notes. I'm a mess, but mentally healthy, and a clean bill of health for the most part, except for orthopedic issues. My hypertension, EKG, thyroid, sugars, CK levels, and cholesterol are all normal now. And pending the results of the blood work, I should be discharged of all of my remaining meds next week. I will stay on the low-dose antidepressants until after the trial, by my agreement. I'm 10 to 15 pounds from my ideal weight now, and have the reemergence of my six-pack that I had playing college soccer. So in that department, all is good or improving. So before dinner, I moved the minivan to the driveway under the basketball hoops as I needed tools for maintenance. In addition, I asked the boys to load any boxes so I could dispose of them at the appropriate dumpster at the condo. I was also bringing the minivan over to the condo as to bring more stuff back to the house. After dinner, Meg warmed up leftovers and I had a protein shake. The boys said everything was set, and Meg pleaded with me to get the necklace as Zoe was driving her nuts about it. I drove over to the condo, literally thinking to myself about how wonderful the day was and how my Zoe was going to light up the room with her smile when I brought back the necklace. Upon parking the van, I went to get the tools out, and they were not there. I walked back 5 minutes and found the boys playing basketball. I asked them what happened to the tools. They looked dumbfounded, and I pointed to them on the base of the basketball hoop. They explained that the doors were locked, so they left them there, of course. They only checked one door, the hatch. I couldn't be mad at them, as I did the same thing often to my father growing up. Instead, I chased them, wrestled with them, laughed and tickled them. Great daddy is. They were great boys, never needed any real discipline as they were brought up correctly. Every once in a while they needed to be separated, being competitive brothers, but they were wonderful to all, especially their little sister. Their relationship was awesome, and she adored them in every way. The boys asked me to play basketball, and I, of course, said yes. Yeah, you're a wonderful father, of course. I always remember a friend of mine doing one of these silly form dances like the electric slide on soccer opening day, and I, of course, laughed at him, and he really looked foolish. He turned to me and said, "Kids only ask you to do things with them for a short amount of time. Then they stop, and I don't want to have any regrets." I remembered that daily, and now I am living it. So we played for a while in spite of being exhausted. What a great guy. And it was starting to get late, so I told them to go inside, and I was going back to the condo with the tools. They said Mom was preparing dessert, and was I going to join them? I said no, as I was trying to lose some weight, etc. I told them to remind Mommy that I was going to stay at the condo or the upstairs apartment, and I did the same thing often to my father growing up. Instead, I chased them. Oh, hold on, they put the same page twice here. I hugged and kissed them after walking back to the minivan to get my keys. I sat in the driver's seat and wanted to take a small siesta. I was tired. The snooze button became my best friend until the battery of the iPod drained. I thought I had my phone, but was mistaken. My something still something and alert me through it, find my phone app if she needed me. So I wasn't worried. I woke up with the morning sun and woke up in a panic, not really knowing the time, but I knew I missed our 4 to 4:30 a.m. starting treatment time and was prepared to receive a scolding, as I would on occasion if I forget to do something, but this would have been harsher. Yeah, okay. I tried to start the minivan, but it wouldn't start. Turns out the seat was pushed too far back to fully engage the brake sensor, so I grabbed my tool bag and scurried back to the house, fearful of the scolding. Was this guy for real? I returned home, put my tools in the garage, and noticed our electric car, Nev, was there. Our electric car. I entered the house to find the melted dessert and remnants in plates on the table. It was some sort of fruit pudding pie in a graham cracker crust. It looked very good, as all my wife's desserts were, but smelled horrible. Turns out it was a Benadryl pudding pie. I didn't realize Tylenol PM or Benadryl liquid could freeze. I went to the bathroom downstairs to pee and newly diagnosed with diabetes 2, that is well under control now. Passing the TV that was on ESPN talking about college football. Normal, as Alex and I always had some sort of sports bet. This one was about Joe Burrows from LSU going number 1. I thought he would be, in addition to being a something, and he thought, okay, whatever they're talking about, this guy. If I won, he had to eat a pepperoni pizza. If he won, I had to eat a seafood dish of his choosing, not raw, but he promised there would be a lot of tentacles. He and I were buds, but he always competed against me. I followed the Yankees. No, of course, he had to be a Red Sox fan, etc. Sorry for the length of this letter, but I thought since Chrissy brought you into this, I guess they were looking for me, and because you contacted the Hartford Courant for the article, you should be told the details. I would have called a press conference months ago, but I was told by my attorney, who happened to be some of the best in the state, that this was not the appropriate way to handle this case. So I just sat in idle making a list of lawsuits when I got out. I hate that they put that in there again. I'm writing this letter on recommendation of the chaplain, and I'll explain later anyways. I came out of the bathroom and found Meg at the top of the stairs. I ran to her, ready to explain why I wasn't there. She started tearing and smiling, saying, "You are something. They didn't get you." I was confused and saw her wearing my gray Hydro Work sweatshirt, and there was a stain on it. I asked what was going on. If the kids reminded her where I was, where were the kids, and if everything was okay. She said the kids were fine and everything was okay now that I was there. She led me into the bedroom and began telling me about her vision she got yesterday while meditating, telling her the end of the world was beginning with the virus attack and eventual invasion. I was captured and going to be killed, and she was granted salvation with the boys once their souls were released. Because she was sicker than we all realized, her reasons were telling me she would not be strong enough to survive. She had turned more and more spiritual over the last few years for something due to her illness. I can write a whole book on it. I didn't really believe in it, but whatever made her feel better, as long as no sacrifices, etc. I supported her. Long story short, she gave them a Benadryl Tylenol PM pie, separated them, woke up at about 11:30 and stabbed all of them, suffocated each one. At the news of this, I ran to the bathroom and puked. I was weak. She continued to tell me what happened and then wanted to pray and meditate together. I needed to see my kids. When I went in, I was horrified. It was peaceful. No signs of struggle, as she said, but I didn't believe her that there wasn't a struggle. I got a warm washcloth and I wiped each of their faces. I held them, cried, and worked to make them look more comfortable by closing their mouths, eyes, and loosening their nasal passages. It was normal for me to wash the faces when they weren't well. Throughout the whole time, Meg kept checking on me very calmly, asking if I was okay, while drinking something. Turns out the Benadryl she had been stockpiling for a while, I would respond to her, "No, you murder our children." And she would respond, "Relax and believe in what I saw." I released their souls. She was calm, oriented, and with it. Therefore, it still amazes me this day. She had told me earlier she researched this for a while in case it would happen on something, Cura or Curia.com and Reddit.com. And when I returned to the bedroom, I demanded the phone, as I did not know where they were. She claimed she had a headache then, and not to worry, but to have faith. She gave me an empty, family-sized liquid Benadryl to throw away in the garbage can bag she had in the tub. As I took the opportunity to look there for the phones, upon going back into the bedroom, I heard a horrific sound of something rubbing a latex balloon. She had stabbed herself the first time. I ran to her bedside and she said, "Please don't leave me alone to die, as I didn't leave the kids to die alone. When I pull the knife, it will go quick. I can feel it happening now." Before I could react, the knife was pulled and thrown on the bed someplace. There was a glove. There was blood, a lot of blood. I begged her to let me call. I would take all responsibility, as I felt it was all my fault. I'll explain. After a while, nothing happened. She had more of her drink and asked me to leave her for a few moments, as I was stressing her out with all of my pleading of asking her to go for help, where phones were, etc. I took the opportunity to look in the boys' room for a phone in their hiding spaces. I couldn't go to the neighbors, as I would the argument of me not leaving her alone. And when we had neighbors, were never home due to work, or mostly now. I heard the shower or toilet flush and the sink running. Somehow she was up. When I returned to the bedroom, she again was pounding another family-sized liquid Benadryl and gave me the empty bottle to throw away. I took the opportunity to look for the phones again. I asked where all the Benadryl was, and she said, "It's in the linen closet, a place I never went." And I looked there, no phones. As I went back into the bedroom, I saw Meg on the bed holding the knife still on her abdomen, saying, "This one is out of something," as she pushed the knife into her liver. Wow. She pulled it out and dragged it on the bed. As I ran to her, I said, "Let me get help. I will take all responsibility for this. My mother, father, sisters, and your grandparents will take care of you." She responded, "I have to be with my babies. Please pray Grandma doesn't find out I killed the kids. It would kill her." her grandmother was very, very close to me, and I knew this also, especially with the troubled family history on that side of the family. She then put my hand on a pillow that she had put on her face and said, please, please help me pass. I'm in pain 10 times greater than childbirth, and I can't breathe, and I couldn't. And she pleaded and pulled my hand and her face, and I couldn't, and watched and just left it there. Many moments later, she began hitting my arm, pulling it harder as on her face, and then pushing it away when she was saying something. I thought she had changed her mind. Nope. She said, I finally found something you suck at. I can still breathe. Yeah, he wants to get it that he can't kill anybody. See that? He couldn't hurt a fly. I told her I couldn't do it, and she pleaded. I started praying for the strength and the balls to do it. She died before I could help her. I couldn't do it. Moments later, she began breathing. I now know reflex, and I said, I'll ask for forgiveness later, and I tried CPR until I physically couldn't anymore, and that was the final act of my chapter of failures. I failed as a father. I wasn't there to protect my children, the thing I blame you the most for, and I am no better. I failed as a husband. I wasn't able to fix Meg or find someone that could, and I wasn't able to succeed in CPR administration 3 times. Persons I was successful on patients, but the person that means the most to me, I failed on. I wanted to die to be with my family, and I also felt I didn't deserve to live after I cleaned up the kitchen per request of Meg. I moved the children into our room onto the mattress in comfortable sleeping positions with a pillow, covered them for warmth and protection, and put a rosary in each one of their hands. I put Zoe on the bed with us. I wanted to die, and I wanted my family together, not spread throughout the house. From there, I have little memory. Basically, I remember all the attempts, yet another thing I sucked at, and picking up cheese, Benadryl, and stuffed cabbage, as I thought was a sign from Meg. What? Supposedly, I had phone calls with people, text arguments with people. My family was looking for me, amongst other things. I'm ashamed, and I asked for forgiveness and understanding from all. Other facts. After I was let to fall down the stairs, I was arrested. I was assisted the rest of the way to the bottom, where I encountered 3 voices. 1, we are looking to drop the charges, but we have to deal with this now, FBI. 2nd, we have a pod waiting for you with 4 other guys just like you, police, and I didn't know what a pod was until March. And 3rd, which I thought was a UPS man, why didn't you answer the door when we were knocking? The last something attempt. I took 4 times the dose of Benadryl, the toxic dose of Benadryl, a lot, on Sunday, January 12th. How Benadryl works, it slows the something down, thus slowing the metabolism of it. As anything that raises the heart rate happens, the more is metabolized, hence the sparse memory. At the hospital, I was Baker acted and deemed not able to sign intake paperwork, but somehow I could waive my rights. 1 hour after I was in need of a guardian to sign my discharge paperwork, but was able to sign away my Miranda rights. 1 hour later, the interrogation was timed greater than 3 hours, but only 1 hour was recorded. I asked for my attorney at the hospital. When asked, someone showed up and said to answer questions asked, and he said he worked and he would meet up with me after DC. My 2 interviews are conflicting with each other, and conflicted with medical examiner's autopsies report. This was done in between. The officer states in his DD-5 that he called the medical examiner prior to the second interview. Anyway, this report and my testimony did not show up. The second was more about my attempts than anything. I stated that I wanted to kill myself right then during my second interview, and yet somehow sound mind. First interview, I told them Meg's father committed suicide in 2002-2003, but somehow they come down to arrest after the miscarriage in 2019. We didn't deal with her mother since 2007. The Medicaid fraud was and is BS. After I read the paperwork when they left, I found out the time frame was when Meg took over the billing. I told her not to worry when I saw her Friday night, and I would keep her name out of it, as they were only talking probation at worst. I don't know the scope of billing mistakes, as my attorney said to not discuss it. Also, the FBI had red flags because they found out I traveled something on days I wasn't there. PTs were billed under me. That was the way the billing company set it up. All the therapists were credentialed. Oh my gosh, what is that? But we billed as a group, and I owned the group. In addition, they were insinuating some sort of money laundering scheme. because no one does as much community service as you report. I told them to stick it up their arses because I actually did more anonymously, like donations to charities and help people with their rent, etc. It was helping people with the rent, but they couldn't pay their own, right? I was approved to meet with the attorney the Wednesday. I was supposed to meet with the attorney the Wednesday after Thanksgiving and return to Florida for an early Thursday morning MD appointment for Meg. That was long awaited. I woke up Sunday morning to the smell of burning. It was Meg burning journal entries she had written about her aunt and uncles, so she didn't want them to read them, as she was the... Hold on, that's the same one. As she was saying the world was going to end and she was going to something, etc. She was going to something. I canceled going back to Connecticut that week because of red flags, and kept her under watch until we were to go to the MD appointment. Thursday, I found out at 11:30 on Wednesday night that she had already canceled the appointment. Something in the week because she didn't want meds and no one could help. I then asked her to call one of the MDs in Gainesville, as we already moved Christmas to connect with Tyler's birthday because of something, and we could rent a temple in Gainesville. She wanted to go to as we were heading there for Tyler's birthday dinner. I only remembered about the investigation of Medicaid fraud when they showed me the newspaper article you called the Current about. That was shown to me in March. It was the first time I learned that I was facing 1 to 2 years in jail. If convicted, I wasn't allowed to fly to Florida, and kept in contact with them over the phone. It was when oh my gosh, his handwriting is unbelievable. It was when I kept silent because of the suicide attempt that they decided to come get me. I was described as psychotic on my arrival at jail by the head of mental health counseling, and I do not remember most of hospital times, none of the police station arrest, or the first 5 to 7 days here in jail. Yet somehow I was competent to give statements. My attorneys made mincemeat of the prosecutor in our first pretrial last week, and now they are going after suppression of the statement. We have been limited due to coronavirus. They have scheduled pre-trial for 12/10/2020 and trial for January, but my attorneys are going to move it up to October once they figure out how jury selection is going to work because of corona. The main motive the prosecution is using is financial, and I just gave up all BS. Meg took care of finances, and all I know is that they were good. We had credit card debt that was what budgeted, that was, I don't know. And planned to be paid off from January 2020 to June 2020. And we had 2 business loans that were to be paid off beginning of January and March. Other than that, we had the mortgage for the condo at Wells Fargo. I only know the username and password. Meg handled the house rental. We were evicted from for not paying December and January, obviously. Office rent the same as the house rental, and payroll. To my understanding, all was paid through December. I didn't micromanage her. I trusted her. Even if we had financial problems, I have family that would help, and I wasn't opposed to working harder. I have to do so to finish paying college, as my father lost his job. I never worried about that. I just worked harder and more. We have just invested money into rebuilding our website and marketing, and was something in less than a month. We had something new rescheduled, and the new staff, I heard, was full. Canceled going back that first week, as I told you, and then canceled the following week for the same, to tend to family. I was giving my children a heart attack. My schedulers. I was off the last half of December, all ready for the holiday, and something secure as our AR was over 250K. No worries from what I knew, different from anyone else. I hope that short letter answers most of questions, as it is just a summary. Believe it or not, we had an amazing marriage, only hampered by her sickness, that I accepted with open arms, as I was determined to find a cure for her. Anyways, I sit here in protective isolation, custody to protect my case, and also for protection, as they say I'm not jail material. Writing, reading, self-PT, calling my sisters and Uncle Martin, outlining my next book, and doing a framework of a nonprofit I am starting in memory of my family. Okay. Something alive and at peace, dedicated to providing resources and services to the chronically ill, not just heart disease and cancer. I also work with my case daily. I'm looking forward to going home, whatever from and wherever this will be. I know I need to work on the name, so another reason I wrote is to offer forgiveness to you and extend a fragile olive branch. I don't know what kind of relationship I want with you, or any. Time will tell. I offer you forgiveness for not being there to protect me that night, March 19th, 1980. Although we were both not there our respective nights in question for different reasons, I cannot forgive myself if I don't first forgive you. The happenings of the night in 1980 are not mine to forgive, as I really don't know what happened and don't really care at this point. I haven't dealt with you because I am allowed to, as an adult, allow the person you were and how I was shown off at the funeral of Aunt Gloria as a trophy, despite telling you I didn't wish to be ahead of time. Also, I thought you were a pompous, narcissistic arse, and I didn't want to have a relationship with you. There it was said, I am extending the fragile olive branch, and we will see. Don't burn it this time. This is between you and I, that is all. Do not share any info with Uncle Martin. Chrissy or anyone else except Danielle. Not even though I wrote to you. I'm going to close for now, as I am in extreme pain, and I'm sure you are tired of reading. Yeah, we really are. Your writing is atrocious. Please, if you correspond, watch what you write, as they scan and send the news and prosecutor all my mail. Tony. P.S. The boys performed in Nashville, July 2019. I uploaded their performance and a recital to YouTube if you want to see them. On YouTube, search Alex Todt and separately Tyler Todt. They were amazing. Okay, so that's the letter. Now, let's go back to our thingy here. And where were we? We were reading the letter. Okay, let's go over here now and go and finish this. What time is it? Wow, this is taking us a long time. Hold on. Come on. Okay, so now to today, right? We're going to talk about this now. Let me put this back up here. So, motion filed by the defense. Detectives who interrogated Tony Todt after he was arrested at the hospital. Now, that is coming into play as Todt's attorney, Peter Schmier, filed a motion on August 31st saying that Tony was not informed properly of his rights before his first interview. They say the 45-year-old was also suicidal. Hang on a minute. Let me just put this up. It's not going from current slide. Come on, go. Let me see if maybe the thing is still up. It is. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay. So they said he was suicidal and had diminished capacity because he was under the influence of a Benadryl overdose. The combination, I quote the attorney, the combination of these factors led to an invalid waiver of Mr. Todt's Miranda rights, referring to the requirement that police inform people in custody of their constitutional rights as established by the U.S. Supreme Court in the 1966 case Miranda versus Arizona. And this is what Tony was saying at the time. My head's spinning a little, Todt said, according to the motion. I'm foggy. I'm in a fog right now. I'm having trouble keeping things straight. He also told detectives, his attorney says. After Todt's first confession to the killings, detectives interrogated him 2 more times and read him the full Miranda warning before Todt repeated his involvement in their deaths. Schmier said, Todt has since blamed his wife for the slayings in the jailhouse writings. Schmier argued that Todt's emotional state made him unable to execute a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver of his Miranda rights. And I quote, In the competitive atmosphere of solving high-profile homicide cases with no available concrete evidence, detectives may be tempted to cut corners and do an end run around Miranda, Shamir wrote. The detective had no incriminating statements from Mr. Todt and had no concrete evidence providing Mr. Todt was the murderer. Hence, a confession was of crucial importance to solving the multi-murder crime. Now, a judge is going to hold a September 20th hearing on whether Todt's confession should be excluded from his trial, which is set to begin on September 27th. Okay. That is everybody up to date with the Todt case. And let me go back and see if you have any questions. If I can get there, let me see. Go to YouTube. Go here.
Manscaped is what he needs.
Be quiet. Okay, get to live chat. Okay, and let's see. Does anybody have any questions? Hi, Nathalie Richardson. Okay. Hi, Night Girl. Hi, Stacy Lynn. Fragile Orange, Olive Branch, right, Ren? Robbity Bob. Just a short letter, yeah, Robbity Bob. Crazy. Let me say hello to everyone, and sorry that it was so convoluted. I had everything ready to go. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Ellie Mae. Hi, Irene. Hi, Lisa Petrovich. Hi, Deborah Vancouverden. Hi, Nike Girl. Hi, Robbity Bob. Hi, Stacy Lynn. Hi, Ren. Hi, did I get LMNW? Okay. Hi, who did it? Somebody just came flying in. Kevin Leonard. Hello there. Who's that? I missed somebody here. Who's that? Lauren Vega Cruz, hello. Irene, I got you, right? Tammy. Nathalie. Mr. Todt is sure scattered all over the place in his letter. Yeah, that letter is ridiculous, and I really hate that he switched to cursive. Wow, that was insanity. Absolute insanity. Anybody have any questions about that? Hi, Captain Lee fan. Did his father do time? Let's go over what his father did, okay? That's a good point, so we can hear what Anthony's father did, okay? The botched killing of his mother that left her without an eye. Okay, so 40 years ago, well, this is going to be 42 years ago, in a courtroom outside of Philadelphia, a young assistant district attorney named Alan Rubenstein laid out a case that had captivated the region for months. There was a local teacher married with 2 children. This is Anthony's father. He had tried to have his wife murdered. Robert Todt's plot had ensnared his oldest child, too. 4-year-old Tony heard his mother scream before she was shot in the middle of the night, according to a 1981 Philadelphia Inquirer article. The man was charming, Rubenstein said, and he had tricked everyone for so long. He tricked his wife, his underage girlfriend, his fiancée from the neighboring town, and the priest who had planned to marry the two. But after weeks of testimony and evidence, the jury found Robert Todt guilty. When the verdict was read aloud, the wails of his wife and mother echoed through the courtroom. The Inquirer reported at the time. Now let's see what happened here. When Robert Todt later appealed his conviction, his guilty verdict was upheld, court records show. The Inquirer reported that in 1984 that the Todt family fought passionately against the conviction, filing lawsuits pleading with local politicians and writing it to local papers. But the case was closed. Robert Todt's wife, Loretta, moved away and eventually accepted the prosecution's version of events. She started a new life. She divorced Robert Todt, remarried, and raised her 2 young children in Connecticut. The children then grew up and started families of their own. For decades, Robert Todt's attempt to murder his wife seemed like a closed chapter, an incredibly traumatic time that the rest of the family had lived through and moved past, until, according to police, Tony Todt grew up to follow in his father's footsteps. Okay, so we know that. Let's see, I'll go on and go to the father. More about the... In 1980, Robert Todt was a special education teacher and a wrestling coach at Bensalem High School. He and his wife Loretta lived in Bensalem with their 2 young children, 4-year-old Tony and his younger sister. Robert Todt was also having an affair with a 17-year-old girl and was engaged to a young nurse in the neighboring town. Okay, so this school teacher, special education school teacher, wrestling coach, is married with 2 young children, 4 and younger, right? He's having an affair with a 17-year-old girl, but he's also engaged to a nurse in the neighboring town. And let's see, the prosecutor Rubenstein believes there were probably other women as well. Here is a suburban school teacher who's fairly well respected and was leading not just a double and triple, but maybe a quadruple life, Rubenstein said. But as Robert Todt and the young nurse began to solidify plans for their wedding, they had already talked to the priest in her parish and announced their engagement to her friends and family. He felt the pressure of his multiple lives building up, Rubenstein said, so he approached a 19-year-old named John Chermonte, one of his former students who had a significant learning disability, and told him about an important assignment. The alleged justifications that Robert Todt gave Chermonte vary, but Rubenstein, court records, and past articles agree that Robert Todt gave Chermonte a gun and a key to his house. He planned to be out on a particular night and told Chermonte to sneak into the home's front bedroom and kill the person lying in the bed. And Chermonte followed the instructions of his former teacher almost. Chermonte was struggling with addiction, Rubenstein said, and was drunk as he walked through the Todt house. He was clumsy, and he bumped into something as he made his way to the front bedroom, waking Loretta Todt. She sort of sat up right as he fired the gun, Rubenstein said. He fired at her at a little bit of a distance, and the bullet went into her left eye, and he took off. Chermonte, still drunk, ran out of the house. Overwhelmed, he stopped to vomit on the front lawn. But Chermonte hadn't just woken Loretta Todt. He had also woken 4-year-old Tony Todt, according to a 1981 article from the Philadelphia Inquirer. There were inconsistencies between Loretta and Tony Todt's police testimony and the prosecution's case, which the Inquirer addressed in a 1981 article. Both Loretta and Tony told police that there were 2 men in the house that night, while Rubenstein's case included only Chermonte. Police also found evidence of 2 shots fired, not 1, and one detective believed the first shot couldn't have been fired from the foot of the bed, as Chermonte testified. But one thing was clear. Loretta Todt had been shot in the head. She was rushed to the hospital and survived. The bullet pierced her left eye and it lodged near her brain. She should have been dead. The incident left young Tony Todt with scars of his own. The boy was plagued by nightmares about what he'd seen, according to the Inquirer. It's hard to believe. With a missing eye and a bullet still sitting in her skull, Loretta Todt watched the lengthy trial against her husband, and she remained convinced of his innocence. She just didn't believe it, Rubenstein said. I said to her, "What more are we going to have to show you?" In stark contrast to his son 40 years later, Robert Todt also adamantly maintained his innocence and even testified in his own defense. He insisted that the near murder was a home invasion. Robert Todt was a very convincing man, charming sort of guy, Rubenstein said, but he was also absolutely cold and remorseless. After weeks of testimony and evidence, Rubenstein made his closing argument and appealed to the jury to see through Robert Todt's lies. He can be acquitted, Rubenstein remembers saying, and he can be set free. All he has to do is fool the 12 of you. The jury refused to be fooled. Robert Todt served a total of about 10 years in prison. Several years after the conviction, after Loretta Todt had moved from Pennsylvania to Connecticut and divorced her husband, she told the Philadelphia Daily News that she had accepted that Robert Todt tried to have her killed. Eventually, there was some recognition that, hey, this happened, Rubenstein said. Eventually, she came around, but it took years. From his vantage point, Rubenstein said it seemed Loretta Todt and Robert Todt's fiancé were both fooled by his charm, good looks, and gift of gab. It seemed that Loretta hadn't seen any indications that he was this kind of person, Rubenstein said. It's yet another similarity between the long-ago case of Robert Todt and the still unfolding case of Tony Todt. There were signs of turmoil, Robert Todt's affairs, Tony Todt's fraud, but on the surface, friends and family didn't see it coming. Robert Todt appeared to be an upstanding community member, a coach and teacher, a family man, and Tony Todt posted smiling Facebook pictures of his young family with neighbors describing buoyant children and an energetic wife. In his decades as an attorney, Rubenstein said he's seen it all. But the twist in this 40-year-old case surprised him just a little. When Anthony was thinking about it, what Anthony was thinking about it, I don't know. Rubenstein said it's hard to believe that this happened. Okay, and that is that. Let's see now. I'm going to go over here, make this a little larger. So yeah, that's the stuff on his father. So that's just crazy. Only 10 years, yeah. Well, she lived, and she didn't even want to press charges, okay? It's crazy. She wanted him to be found innocent. So that's the whole thing. And now they're trying to dismiss that confession, and if they do, they're going to go with the stupid, jerky confession, which is just ridiculous. You just love Glorious very much. So that's about that. Anybody have any questions about that? That's crazy, I know. And then she had, I think, a really crazy family life herself. But no, I mean, not like that. So I need a minute here to move the redirect to the other live, okay? So let me just do that. You guys can just think if you have any questions, 'cause I'll come back and take care of that in a second. Just want to do the redirect here. So gross, that retelling of how he tells that. It's just so disgusting. I couldn't stand it the first time. It's ugh. So really disgusting. Okay, let's change this. And then when I end this, it'll direct you right into this other live, okay? Let's see here. Is that the one? Yeah. Tomorrow we have the auction. It's going to be in 2 parts. And let's see. Oh shoot, wait, don't, go back. I want to do it at, what time is it now, 12:50. We'll do it at 12:55. It's March 30th already, get out of here. Okay, and then I want to do a redirect though on the other one. So, okay, that's all set up. Now let me just do the redirect on this one so that when I end it, you're going to go right to the new one. Was Anthony's dad? Yes. Yes, Anthony's dad only served 10 years. It was in 1980 where it happened. Okay, yep, he was out of jail. Redirect. It's going to add you there. Save. Okay, so you go back.
Introducing speech alone.
Quiet. Okay, so when I do have 2 minutes, and then I'll shut it. Hi, small town girl with a big heart. The case is haunting. Yeah. Remember when we went all around that Celebration, Florida neighborhood, and everybody got so upset when you called it a Disney neighborhood, but it was a Disney property. But Disney doesn't like that very much, and sorry, but it doesn't look like. If I wanted to live in a Disney neighborhood, I really would like to live in. That's what I said. In a Disney neighborhood where everything looked like a cartoon, where the houses were really brightly colored like cartoons, and you have these big cartoon. If you're going to live in a Disney neighborhood, let it look like a Disney neighborhood. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like with this, I don't know. I would, if I was going to live in a Disney neighborhood, it would have to look like a Disney neighborhood, not like it did. I would like everybody to have like a Mickey Mouse, a Minnie Mouse, like some kind of character mailbox, but a really nice one that had like big ears and stuff, and the houses would be all like how like Minnie Mouses are, like in pinks and like just, I don't know. If you're gonna live in a Disney neighborhood, for crying out loud, you don't want like white little colonials. So come on. The sidewalk should be like yellow, right? With some with mouse ears, some with Tinkerbell, some, you know, or red with black polka dots. Yeah, so Nana Patty is like the Edward Scissorhands movie. I never saw that movie all the way through, but I could design like a real Disney neighborhood. But it would be expensive to do all that, and it was expensive to live there, but whatever. But if it's going to be Disney, it should be Disney all around. Cinderella, yeah. And everyone's car should have to be like a certain color and that have this big Disney logo on it. It would be cool. And everyone's kitchens would have to be like pink. I know, everything would have to be Disney. Sorry. But we went around that whole thing. If I join the membership, can I get a... Yes, of course. No, not to the ones that we've watched, because we don't tape them, but you can come to the new ones. You can come on to the new ones. And you could come to the readings that we do of members. We read, right now we're reading Juan Martinez, the Jodi Arias conviction. I know it's not a Disney. Yes, we went through that. You don't even understand. Some lady came to the thing last time and she was so pissed off. She was like, oh my gosh. And she was, unfortunately, she was inebriated. And she said, "Oh my gosh, you're at the wrong house," and it was because the second time we went through, there was like one number off of the house, and so we were on the street behind it. It was like for literally 30 seconds, and this woman calls in and she says, "Oh my gosh, if you make a mistake, you should delete." I said, "We're going to delete this whole live because of that one mistake that we corrected and went to the right house." She goes, "Yeah." It was just, so now we always say, "Oh, you made a mistake, you've got to delete it." Yeah, Jody Arias is a good case. Okay, so I'm going to move us to the other live now. So everybody, please put your seatbelts on so you don't get off of the ride, because you're going to miss out if you miss out. As I'll see you in the other line. Uh-oh, who's that? Haley. Detective for 3 months. Welcome. Thank you, Haley. Okay, I have to get into the other, I'm not in the thing. Okay, I know what to do. I've got to end it over here. All right, I'll see you in the other. Okay. Hold on, I'm not here. What? Okay, I'm live. Now let me see how many people made it over. Let's see. Uh-oh, where's my new live?
You should wrote the date on these puppies, honey.
Wait a second. What puppies?
On these jars they were made last year.
Which
Brought them up from the thing.
which jars? No, they
All
weren't
this was
made.
made last year.
No, they weren't. They were made
How did they get the Easter thing?
because they're Easter.
When were they made?
Some of them were made in 2019. Let me just see, because I.
Okay, that's what I meant. When before.
All right, just 1 second. I think I put the wrong. What happened here? Hold on a minute, Jimmy. Just 1 second, okay? Oh shoot! Wait a second. Jimmy, just hold on a second, okay? What time is this supposed to be? Why is this technology so difficult today? 12:58. Isn't it March 30th? 12:58 a.m. Why is this not live?
You want to check anything on my computer, honey?
I don't know. No, it is live. Okay. Hey, welcome to Being a Deputy Rambler, Stacy Lynn. Thank you. Okay. Hi, Nicole. Haley, where's everybody else? Why are we waiting? Did I not go live? You can see me, right? I'm live. Wait, no, I'm talking to them. You could see me, right? I'm live. What happened, though? Oh, are people coming now? Nicole, what happened? I don't know. Technology is not liking me today. Why is it saying they're waiting for Mommy Ramblings? Mommy Ramblings is right here. Oh my gosh.
We are still on the Todt live.
Okay, I thought I ended that, but I'm not. Hold on.
Is that Anthony's last name, Todt?
T-O-T, yeah, T-O-D-T, Todt. Let me see. I'm still on the other live. No, I'm not. I don't think so. Let me go. You guys stay where you are, okay? I'll be back to get you in a minute. I'm going to go see what's going on over here. Okay, Jimmy, I'm trying. Okay, I'm going to go over here and end this live, which should have been ended. End stream. I thought it was, and ended. Okay, now it's